We already have it 2 times.
Yeah, somebody will complain though if it's not there. Don't worry.
When this session is finished, then the slides will be posted also on the Facebook group for everybody to read. So in this sentence, kore wa nan desu ka? Actually, the particle wa marks the topic. So what we are talking about. In this case, kore means this. So the nan desu ka? So what is this? Reflects onto kore. When I say Nihongo ga wakarimasen, so we don't use wa anymore, we use ga, then the Nihongo ga reflects on the verb. So this is the big difference. So if you have wakarimasen, to know what we are not understanding, we need a subject, something. If I combine these two, so I take watashi tachi wa Nihongo ga oboete imasu, for example, then we combine the topic with the subject. So I think this is very unclear, but I hope Andy explained it so in the 20 minutes before. So actually, you should see the topic as a picture frame. So you're trying to make a sentence and you're trying to get a message across. To put that message in perspective, if it's not there, usually the perspective is made by the context. For example, if I'm asking something to Andy, then Andy already knows it's me. So the topic would be watashi wa, but I don't need to say it because it's clear, because it's me that does the talking. Is this clear? Yeah. So the subject is more difficult because a sentence needs a subject. A sentence doesn't necessarily mean a topic because it's going to be clear of the situation. A subject is actually o or ga. We will see later on the o, but it is something the verb that we are talking about needs. So it's the information part. It can be filled on. There can be more information, so added. So usually it will be a o or a ga. So there could be time information, other information, but the verb will always relate to subject. Is this clear? Did Andy also nicely explain this? Perfect.
Well, I explained it. I'm not sure about nicely.
But you can see it. You have to. So the way I remember it now, you have to see it as you have your sentence, and you have a picture, you have the frame, and you have the sentence. What's in the frame is important. That's the green, the rose pink stuff, and the dark blue stuff. That's what you're trying to get across. And the blue part is just making the context. Making clear you have all what is needed to understand what you're trying to give or receive. So we're going to do a little exercise immediately. So I'll see how far you get. We're going to make a very simple sentence. I would for the first sessions we had a little free practice, and it seemed to be very difficult to make a sentence with the wa and the ga. So I would like you to follow one of these 2 structures. So I have the first structure, which is kyou wa tenki ga samui desu. So kyou wa is a topic. Tenki ga samui desu, it's cold. So I'm telling the weather is cold. So that can mean without the topic, the weather is cold, it says enough. So, but if I want to, for example, emphasize today, then the today will give context to the weather is cold. Do you understand the difference between subject and topic? If not, you can ask, or you can put a thumb up. Yeah, I have another example also. So, watashi wa ongaku ga suki desu. So, if you have a sentence where you want to express something you like or dislike, it will always be the subject, the thing you dislike, and then the topic, again, to put the context. So you, somebody else, usually, or can be also, it doesn't need to be something alive. Yes? Andy, I'm going to ask you to first make the first sentence so everybody has a good example. So you can choose one.
Can I sort of just vary my own then, can I?
Yeah, but remember, you have to also explain us what the topic is and the subject is. That's very important.
Okay. Watashi wa keitai ga arimasu. Watashi wa means I as the topic. Keitai, mobile phone, is the subject. Ga arimasu. Arimasu means there is, but by putting watashi wa keitai ga arimasu, this means I have a mobile phone.
Yeah. So if I would take that sentence, if you were leave the subject out, if you would say watashi wa suki desu, it was suki arimasu. No,
Keitai ga arimasu.
yeah. So if you leave the keita ga out of it, the sentence would mean nothing.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
If you leave the watashi wa out of it, the sentence is still clear to us that it is your phone.
Yeah, I can just
So
say
that's-
keitai ga arimasu, and it still has some meaning.
That's a tip how to recognize the topic from the subject. And in this way, if you doubt, you should ask yourself that question. So the subject is the thing that the verb needs. That's a little tip. So Costa, you can do next because you're the next on my screen.
Using both wa and ga, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And following one of the two sentences.
Yeah. Watashi wa ringo ga suki desu. I like apple. Ringo.
Yes, and then
So watashi wa, it's the topic, and the ringo, the apple, is the subject that I
yes.
like.
But can you do one more time the sentence? Because now you have to think about the verb, and that's something we will explain later. Can you do it one more time?
Okay. Watashi wa ringo ga suki desu.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Very good. Thank you very much. Lucas, will you do the next, please?
はい。今週の火曜日はお酒を飲みました。
That's good. Can you explain us what the topic is?
The topic will be this Tuesday, or this week's Tuesday, and subject will be, of course, excellent sake.
That's the object, though, not the
Object, yes, that's the object. Sorry.
Object.
So the subject will be me. I drank the sake.
Yeah, the watashi ga. Very good. Annika, would you do the next one, please?
明日は仕事に行きます。Yeah.
You have made it yourself difficult, but I will ask you anyway. What is the topic?
The topic is the shigoto, and no, the topic is tomorrow, ashita.
Yeah,
And
so which you marked with wa, so that's good.
yes,
ashita wa.
and the subject is the work, shigoto, and
Are you sure? Because the work you marked with ni, and so we're missing a ga. Actually, it's correct what you say, but
Yeah.
you have forgotten to say something. I think you also want to say watashi ga shigoto ni.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, Andy Sensei?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so because it's you, so the verb is reflecting to you, not to the work.
yes,
So that's the question. The subject is usually who or what is doing the verb. So it's not the work that does the verb, but this is good for everybody to get to know the difference. Okay, it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Kim, will you do the next one, please?
今日は私がウォークを食べます。So the topic is today, especially today, and I'm eating. So watashi ga, and what I'm eating is wok. So that's marked with o, and then the verb tabemasu.
Are you eating a wok?
Yeah, I don't know how to say a wok dish. Yeah, it's something that you prepare in a wok. So we call it wok.
Oh, it's a very good teeth.
I would just want to say.
Yeah.
I would just want to say itadakimasu.
Arigato.
And where's mine?
Wine.
Can get it.
Patrick, will you do the next one, please?
I'm not sure if this works. Watashi no musume wa koe ga urusai.
It does work.
That's right. Could you explain us what the topic is?
Topic is my daughter, and the subject is her voice. And I said if she's noisy.
Something my wife often says for me. So thank you. Amanda, will you do the next one, please?
こんばんは、イタリア料理がします。
You do cooking?
Yeah. I'm
So
making
what
Italian.
is it? Yeah. And what is the topic?
This evening? This
Yes.
evening I'm gonna
Yeah. So now the question, what is the subject?
cooking.
Oh,
that's the object.
that's the verb.
Me, yeah.
Me, yes,
Me.
yes, you. Yeah, it's kind of the same as the example of Annika. So sometimes it's difficult, but it's so who or what was doing the cooking was here the hint to find out what the topic, what the subject was. So that's the question you should ask to know which particle.
When you use ga to mark an object, I mean, in that sentence, I don't need to.
Subject.
I don't need to. Yeah, no. I mean object. I mean, I use ga. Sometimes you use ga to mark an object, don't you?
Yeah.
Instead of o.
In the
But
potential.
I should have used o. So I should have used o, and then the subject would be watashi ga, but I wouldn't need to say it.
Correct. Yeah, you can infer it. You can infer it without
Yeah.
saying it. Yeah, for sure.
Can I ask a kind of obscure question that might be a bit annoying?
No,
If
you
I-
can.
If you've got a subclause, does that make a difference? So if I wanted to say ashita wa ame ga forever niwa de keiko shinai de kudasai or something like that, the fact that the rain is falling is in a subclause, does that make a difference?
No, that's fine. Can you say it again, please, Amanda? The Japanese sentence.
Ashita wa
Mhm.
ame ga forever
Mhm.
keiko niwa de keiko shinai de kudasai.
That's perfect. Yeah. So the rule about the subject being marked by ga applies to the subclause as well. So you said ame ga forever. So this is exactly it. If the rain falls.
So it's the rain, but then the person I'm talking to,
Is outside of that subclause. So
right?
you could say, Andy-chan, ashita, moshi ashita, or Andy-chan, ashita wa moshi ame ga forever. Ni wa de keiko shinai de kudasai.
So can you, if you have a subclause in a sentence, does that mean you could potentially have two subjects in a sentence? Because
Yes.
the subject of the subclause, okay.
You could.
And you would mark them, would you need to use a different particle to mark each?
Yeah, it depends on what's being said, really. So just to answer your first question, you could have three wa in a sentence. You could say, watashi wa sushi wa suki desu ga sashimi wa amari suki janai. I like sushi, but I don't like sashimi. So me, sushi and sashimi are all marked with wa.
Right.
And it's only my position in the sentence that marks me as being the main topic, and then wa is being used to make a comparison between sushi and sashimi.
Okay.
But it would be
thanks.
clear if you just got the order correct.
Yeah.
Good question.
Hmm.
Then I have, I think, still Louise.
はい。私の二人妹は刺身が嫌いです。So, the topic would be my two younger sisters, and the subject would be sashimi.
Correct. Oh, I think it's correct.
Yep,
That's
sounds good.
how I understand.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Roger, I think you're the last one.
私は車が運転します。
I think the kuruma untenshimasu. Because you're driving the car. you're doing an action. So I think there's a invisible watashi ga in there. Same as with the previous examples. So can you reform the sentence, please?
今日は私が車を運転します。
Yes. And then now can you define the topic?
Is today.
Yes.
Subject is me.
Yes. Yes. So does everybody get this? Because the wa and the ga, it's very confusing for all of us. The only really hint I can say is think of the topic as a thing that explains the situation, so which puts all the things in context, and the subject, the who or what, is doing the verb. And then there's always the more information, which we call the blah 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 in very scientific terms. Okay. So I thought it was easy, so everybody thinks that now, but there's always a but. The ga actually has a lot more functions, and the wa also. We can also use wa to compare things. I think all of us of this group were there, session 1, 2, and 3, when we made the most complex sentences. In the beginning, we saw biu wa nomimasu ga misu wa nomimasen. So in this sentence, with the wa, we can mark two things to put them in contrast, to put them one against each other. It's not really a comparison, but it emphasizes I don't drink the water and I do drink the beer. And in this case, there's a second use of the ga, so not to mark the subject, but to use it as but. Does everybody get the difference? And the second, so the second function of wa and the second function of ga. If so, please put that with them. Or if not so, please speak or forever hold your peace.
Put up your foot.
Yes, everybody gets it. And it was good. It was well explained in the beginning. So, as we have seen with a few cases, with the subject, sometimes it's unclear if you use ga or o. Now, the choice between ga and o really depends on the verb. As we have seen, we have intransitive verbs and we have transitive verbs. Depending if we have an intransitive verb or a transitive verb, we will use we use ga or o. So for this, I will try to explain what an intransitive verb is. An intransitive verb actually is a verb that doesn't need an object to complete its meaning. So it's something you do yourself. Like if I go home, it's not the English, you have to think about in Japanese this sentence, but if I go home, it's me that's going home. I don't need anything else to go home. It's me. My home will still be there, even if I don't go. So it's something you do to yourself. If you become very good, it's something you do to yourself. A transitive verb actually is you require something to complete it. So the example I chose was to see an eagle. When in doubt, we have seen this week. For example, when I take a picture, I need something to take that picture with. In this case, a camera. So if I take the example of Roger, if I'm driving a car, I need that car to drive. I can't drive not the car. So in the example, if we see an eagle, the eagle needs to be there to be seen. Now, to make clear the difference, I can't see without an eagle being there. So when you're in doubt if it's an intransitive or transitive verb, if you have a situation where there is an object, it will always be a transitive verb. So yes, we can see without the eagle, but we can also see with an eagle, so it will be a transitive verb. If I go home, it doesn't matter, there's no situation where there's an object that I need to go home. Is this clear? We will see it in the future also.
You need a home to go to home, huh?
No, not necessarily. In grammatical, not necessarily.
Okay.
A home can be a place that a home can be a feeling.
It can be where the heart is.
Oh God.
It doesn't need a physical object.
So
Yeah,
you
okay.
said we can see without being an ego there. So why is the
I'm saying this because we had it this week. You could argument that to see you can also do intransitive. So, but when there's also a transitive possibility, we should choose to transit. We should for the particle see it as a transitive verb.
Yeah, Tom, can I just
you can
clarify that then? If a verb can be made with an object, if it can be made with an object, then it is by definition a transitive verb. If you can't fit an object onto the verb, it is by definition an intransitive verb. So maybe your sentence won't have the object in it. If I just say tabemashita, I ate, I haven't mentioned an object, but the fact that I can put an object onto tabemashita means that it is a transitive verb. Okay.
Is this clear for everybody? Because this actually is one of the most important things I think we learned in all these sessions. And it will always come back. So I've also put 2 examples in there. So Japanese examples. So the watashi wa is between brackets because in this case, we don't need it to understand the sentence. But actually, invisibly, it's always there. So I could say ongaku ga suki desu. And because I'm the one that says it, it's clear that it's watashi wa. The reason it's ga because it's des, and for des, iwu, awu, nawu, iku, so the intransitive verbs, it's always ga because I'm not doing anything to the music. I just like it. I'm not changing it. If I take the second example, so watashi wa sushi o tabemasu. Again, I don't need to watashi wa. It's there, but it's clear because I say it that it's me. Here it's o because I need the sushi to eat or the wok dish. I can't eat nothing. Actually, you can eat nothing, but you need something to make the verb real, to complete it. I cannot eat nothing grammatically. If you would, yeah. Is this clear? The difference between ga and o. So always think about the object, even if it's not there. If you can use it, then you can determine if it's intransitive, transitive, and reflect on it.
Is it the same? Okay, with the tabemashita, we need to use almost every time o because we are doing something to the food we are eating it. It's the same with the to wear with the kiru.
Yes.
Because it needs o.
That's still o.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason why, so it's about because I cannot wear anything without that object. I cannot complete my action. So I could wear something, but if I don't have anything, then the verb doesn't mean anything. Good question. So we're going to practice this. In this exercise, so you don't have to tell me the watashi wa. That was the first exercise. If you want to, it's not a problem because it's an exercise of particles. So the people that want to use watashi wa or anata wa, you can, there's no penalty. So I want you to make simple phrases. If it's too difficult, then I will just shift it to Andy. But I want you to use an intransitive verb. So a verb like des, awu, iwu, nawu, iku. Things that you do to yourself. Neru, for example, sleeping is also one. And then I want you to use a transitive verb. So something where you need an object. So you should think in yourself something as that I'm doing in action. Again, I will let Andy start to give a good example, hopefully.
今夜は私が道場に行きます。And then the transitive verb, 今何も飲んでいません.
Okay, that's correct. Now, because it's you, sorry, Andy, I would like you to, with both sentences, also tell us what the topic is and the subject is, so that part is also clear for everybody.
Sure. So the first one I said konya wa, which means that as for this evening, watashi ga, I'm the subject, dojo ni, to the dojo, ikimasu, so I'm the subject. And then the second one, I think I said ima wa, as for now, Watashi ga, I'm the subject. Nani mo, nothing. Nonde imasen, I'm not drinking anything.
Yeah, so the reason I asked, because this was a little bit already confusing maybe for some people. So in the first sentence with the intransitive verb, and he used the verb iku. So iku is intransitive. With the second verb, he used the continuous tense. So there was an imas, so you would think iru intransitive, but before the imas, there actually was a transitive verb. It's correct, Andy?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't even notice I was making it that difficult. Sorry.
No. So because of it's the continuous tense, it's not the imas that counts for the particle, but it was drinking,
yeah,
non-de.
Yeah, correct.
So,
yeah.
but it's a good sentence to see everybody. So it also depends. You have to think about if there are multiple verbs in a sentence, which one is actually doing the action. Okay. Patrick, will you do the next one, please?
Or just one of each?
Yes, one of each, please. And not too difficult, so everybody can understand. And my focus here is actually on the particle. But you can also make a little bit more complex because you're, of course, I think already high level thanks to your daughter. So maybe with something with ice cream.
Okay, so I'm just going to go simple first. Watashi wa Toronto ni sunde imasu. So I'm living in Toronto. And then
So I'm first gonna ask a question, Patrick, so everybody clearly understands. So you used, I think, the verb sumu, to live.
Yes.
And so sumu is intransitive or transitive? Do you need something to live or not?
Well, I was
It's a good
thinking
question, and sadly Andy is gone, but
I thought it was just like location. So if you can go home, you can live in a home. So it's still ni.
So I'm glad I made you doubt, so you can do the next sentence.
Okay. 今日のデザートは、今日の、ですね、こんばんは、アイスクリームを食べます。
Yes, that's correct. Thank you. Amanda, will you do the next one, please?
2週間道場に行きません。
That's the intransitive one?
Yeah, and 今週家で掃除しています。
One more time, please. The sound was a little bit.
今週家で掃除をしています。
Yes. Okay. Andy, I just had a question that I asked Patrick, and I'm not 100% sure. The word sumu, is it transitive or intransitive? Do you need something to live, to reside?
It's intransitive, but it has to be combined with. It has to be expressed in the
continuous?
In the present continuous tense.
Then it was 100% correct, Patrick. Louise, will you do the next one, please?
はい。2018の11月にドイツに帰りました。What did I have to explain?
Can you repeat?
What did you want us to explain with the sentence? Should we say which one was the verb or?
I just want you to actually, it's a simple exercise. I just want you to make a sentence with an intransitive verb and one with a transitive verb. That's
so we
all.
didn't need to say anything to it.
You can, huh?
Okay, no, I don't have to. So Yeah, that was the first sentence, and then transitiv, intransitive. No, now transitive. Okay, transitive verb. 今日は3時間に数学を勉強しました。
So you're studying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'm asked to because I have to translate it also in my head. That's good for my vocabulary. Roger, will you do the next one, please?
剣読がなります。
So that's the intransitive one.
Yeah. 今夜はピザを食べます。
That's correct. Kim, will you do the next one, please?
Wait. This. このハサミです。
Kono hasami des. I think I'm missing a particle. And it's one we have already
And a verb.
seen. And a verb. The verb could be des.
Verb.
Particle. Kono hasi des, he says.
この yes. このはハサミです。
Then I would use, I think, korewa.
これは yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
kono needs a noun, and kore just means this, and then wa
Oh.
is good,
yes.
and
Kim,
then
Kim, are you
Yes,
trying to
I
say?
messed up.
Are you trying to say there are some scissors here?
No, this is a scissor.
It's going to be difficult making wa and ga in that kind of situation because you'd say kore wa hasami des. There is no subject. You're saying as for these,
Mhm.
these are scissors. So
he doesn't need to make wa and ga for this exercise.
okay, sure, okay.
Oh, but it will be nice, but not
Yeah.
necessary.
Hmm.
Right,
Kim,
I say, yeah.
I propose you just say it's your scissors. That's easier. I think
Mm.
to make it easy.
These are my scissors. 私は no. This is
Your start was okay. So what you first had was good. It just needed one extra.
私はこのハサミがです。
So I think the kono hasami wa is good in the beginning. So that's the topic. You're talking about the scissors.
私
And then it's yours. So watashi,
Watashi
and then no, I
Watashi
think, because you're talking about the possessive.
I'm
Okay,
confused.
guys, let's stop a second. Sorry, can we stop a second? Des is less like a verb than it is as just being a statement. So don't use des. Let's use actual doing words because me saying I am Andy is not a verb in any language, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Look at the first sentence. And then you could use, I think you could use your scissors in that.
yeah,
Exactly.
yes. ハサミがあります。
Yeah, that's good.
And then 今日車を運転しません。
That's good. That's correct. Because the not driving is an action. Is it clear, Kim?
Okay. Yes. It's clear.
If not, ask. Annika, will you do the next one, please?
Okay. 昨日はクリスマスカードを書きました。
That's good. That's a transitive verb. You don't need to do them in order, so that's a transitive one.
Yeah, and あそこでテレビが見えます。
Looking will be a transitive verb as well. Think about the eagle. You're
But-
watching the TV, so you need the TV.
But me and
Mm.
mas isn't it with intransitive?
I'm going.
It's
Telebi
me and
ga
mas.
me and mas.
I thought it was from Microsoft. Andy?
It's if you say telebiga miemas, then this is an intransitive verb. If you say telebi o mimas, then this is of course a transitive verb.
So then you are correct, Annika.
Okay.
Very nice.
No.
Lucas, will you do the last one, please?
はい。明日の今晩は
Sorry, ashita no konban.
明日の
Yoru. Use yoru.
夜
Yeah.
So ban is 夜
So we only really use ban when we say konban wa.
今晩
We know if we talk about evening, other than
It's yoru.
konban wa, yeah, we'll either
Ah.
say yukata or
I
yoru.
supposed to say just 明日は
Yeah,
Ashita.
screw evening.
明日の夜は、道場に泳ぎませんでしたが、車を、運転しました。
That actually is correct and nice. Oh, I thought it was correct with a nice use of but.
Yeah, it's just that you sound like a time traveler, Wukash. You're saying tomorrow I didn't drive to the dojo.
明日 I said,
I
I
didn't-
wanted to say 昨日。
Ah, kino. Right,
No.
right, right.
I didn't swim to the dojo, but I drove a car.
Huh.
So sorry, 昨日 instead of 明日。より明日、昨日、今晩、whatever.
It's I counted correct. You know in the last part there will be the advanced part, and you can choose an advanced one with many particles.
I have a sentence.
Super. So
This
now
one.
that we see. So now that we know the difference between ga and o, so depending on it's a transitive verb or an intransitive verb, we actually have more uses for ga. And the idea of this slide is to show you the other uses of ga. So when you come across it, then you can determine by the hand. I use it a guideline, so it's not a strict rule, but a guideline that you can determine to use ga. So first case we have is, so we already saw it, is to connect two sentences. Then we use ga as a but. The second one, when we have a state sentence, so with des, iu, aru, and naru, no, des, iu, and aru, then we always have ga, no exceptions. If you want to express likes and dislikes, always ga, no exceptions. For the people that also want to use kirai, it's also ga, but apparently kirai is very negative. So sometimes I prefer to use then ski dewa arimasen. There's two more uses of ga, and that's if we ask questions about objects or people, then we don't know the answer yet, then we also always use ga. So if I would ask for dono hon ga anata no desu ka, which book is yours? Because I don't know which book it is, I have to use ga, and the same goes to people. So is this clear? So we have ga as a but, ga in questions. I go a little bit back. Ga in state verbs, and ga in likes and dislikes. So if you doubt, then you should ask these questions. Have I two sentences? Is the meaning to connect? Have I the verb des, iru, aru? It's 100% sure it's ga. The ga here can also be, I now think of what Amanda said, it can be used also on subclause. So you can have a subclause, ga skides. So sometimes that gets confusing. So like Andy said in the beginning, sometimes you can have multiple gas in a sentence. But my exercises are simple, so that's for the more advanced stuff later.
Which Kim will do.
Which Kim will do, no problem. So to make it easy, I used these 5 examples for when we use ga. So I wrote in the first one as a memorizing. So when you have to do the exercise, then you can take an example and make it your own sentence with other words. So the first one, we connect 2 sentences. In the second one, we make a statement. So tomorrow is going to be warm. In the third A and 3B, we have a like or dislike, or kirai is also possible. And then in number 4 and 5, in number 4, I ask a question. And in number 5, because I asked the other question, so the first one is a question about an object, and number 5 is a question about the person. So I would like to ask Andy to choose one of the options and then make 1 sentence to practice.
このクラスの中に誰が一番若いですか?
Okay, so you used number 5. So
Yes.
sorry, Andy, because it's you, and I feel it's good practice. Good to tell us also the topic and the subject, so it's fresh in everybody's memory.
Yeah. So I said このクラスの中に. So although I didn't put wa here, this is actually the topic. このクラスの中に. So in this class, 誰が一番若いですか? 誰が is who, 一番若いですか? Most young. Who is youngest in this class?
So thank you very much. Then we go in a reverse order. Lucas, will you take the next one, please?
I don't know if this will be correct, but neko no benki ni ga suki desu?
Sorry, you like the cat's toilet?
Cat in a toilet. Cat sitting in a toilet.
You like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Benki ni suwateru neko ga.
Yeah, there should be a ga.
Yeah.
I was missing the ga.
Ga suki desu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Benki
ni suwateru
neko ga
suki desu.
Hai.
As in Louis' picture.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I like it as well.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a nice one. So we immediately go to Luis.
Sorry, Tom, Amanda's got a question.
Sorry?
I've got a question. I need to go, but I've got to cook. But could I just listen for the rest of the session while I'm cooking, and I'll have myself on mute? Is that okay? Well,
Yeah, of course. For sure. Yeah, no problem.
Did you want me to do one of these before I go or not?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. And if you want, I can redo the session also because I was also late. So we do a personal session.
Okay, I mean, I think I'm gonna just like chop things up and listen. Dono sportsu ga ichiban suki desu ka?
Very good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you next week. Well, I need to talk to Andy before next week because I'm doing the lesson, aren't I? I'm doing the
Oh
presentation.
yes, yeah. Should we have a chat at the weekend?
Yeah, it's not going to be anything like as good as this one, I'm afraid.
Don't worry. We'll get Tom to make up your presentation for you.
Yeah, good idea.
If you want.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
See you soon, Amanda. Ciao.
See you soon. Luis, can you take over, please? Oh,
sorry, Andy.
Lucas have a question? Yes, Lucas.
Just for my one, when you say benki ni suwateru, you usually use the plain one, suwateru, to make this close sentence.
Yeah, it becomes a modifier.
Not the ta or te form.
No. So it's sitting. Yeah. So this little subclause modifies the cat. Benki ni suwateru in brackets. Neko. So the cat.
We're just sitting in a toilet.
Yeah. So it's like toilet sitting cat.
Toilet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Luis?
はい。秋に沖縄で行きましたが、とても楽しかったでした。
Sehr gut.
Very nice. Sehr gut. Dankeschön. Roger, will you do the next one?
Sumo ga suki desu?
Sumo?
Ga, ga.
Sumo.
Sumo, did you say?
Yeah, sumo.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Kim, will you do the next one, please?
昨日が寒いです。
That's correct.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes, it
Kino,
was.
kino wa samui desu. Samui is in the present tense, so you can't say this.
昨日。
Ah.
昨日。I meant kyo. Sorry.
And if you would use kino, then it would be. I'll play Andy.
寒かったです。
Yes, exactly.
I was also fooled, Kim, so it's no problem. It's that. Annika, will you do the next one, please?
古い映画が大好きです。
Ooh, good.
It's good. Correct. And then I think I still have Patrick, if I'm correct, and Costa. So first, Patrick.
いつも歯を磨きますから虫歯菌がありません。
Very good.
Very good. And Costa, please.
Nihongo ga kirai desu.
This week maybe, but Costa?
今日は試験ですが勉強する時間がありません。
Ooh, good.
Very well. I have all these simple sentences.
Once again.
It's
Once again.
once again, Costa.
You want me to repeat? Sorry. 今日は試験ですが勉強する時間がありません。
Okay, and now we will help Kim. So could you tell me the topic of the sentence?
Yeah, it's today I have the test, but I don't have time to study. So today is the topic.
So she used number one, forga. So to identify which function the guy was using, Kim. Kim, you're not moving anymore?
Am I not moving anymore?
Yeah, you move. Almost. So it's clear which the 5 situations are when you use ga, because that's the main focus of the lesson.
Yes.
Not the sentence, but when to use which one. So we can continue. There is yet another possibility to use ga, and that's when we use the passive form. Because the passive form, it's already something that is done. So it can never be an action. So it can never be o. So when you use a passive form, again, it's 100% always sure it's a ga. Because passive cannot be action. So it's an easy way to look at it if you doubt. If you have a passive form, it's always ga. I have to say, there is, of course, an exception, because in the first slide we saw, to make a sentence more polite, we can use the verb in a passive conjugation, but the sentence is not in the passive form. Do you understand the difference? So we had in the sessions, I think 20 something, we saw the passive form where we changed the verb to eat, something has to be eaten. So it became the perspective of this person that says it is as it's not he that does it. It's not the person that does it. So that's the passive form. With you had an agency, so somebody is doing something to a subject. So the agency was marked with ni, and the subject was marked with ga. It's coming back, Kim. And then it's not ate. Right? The food was not ate. The food was eaten. Because and in this way, the eaten is in the passive, so it's no longer an action because the action is already finished in the past. But there was an exception in that lesson. If you want to make a present tense more polite, then you can use the conjugation of the passive form on the verb. But I would not think about that too much because the passive form isn't used that often. it's better to first learn the passive form with the right particles ni and ga, and the conjugation of the verb. So think about passive, take the verb taberu, eaten, and not ate. Ate would be, so I ate sushi is an active, and the sushi was eaten is passive.
Yes.
Okay, Kim? And everybody else, not only Kim. So luckily, Andy will show how you have to do this. And Andy will make a sentence with a passive verb. So I already made 2 examples, so you can read afterwards. Watashi ni watashi ni kono hon ga yomaemashita. So read in the passive form in English actually is written the same. So read and read are actually written the same, but in Japanese, we take for the group 1 verbs, the negative form, we cut off the nai, and then we add reru. I'm not going to put too much time in this because Jock Sensei wrote a nice article about how to conjugate and how to recognize the reru and the rareru. For the group 2 verbs, the potential form and the passive form are the same. So Andy, can you make a nice example, please?
Sure. Watashi no kuruma ga dorobo ni toraremashita.
Okay, and can you now tell me the topic?
Sure. So the subject is my car. That's the person who, that's the thing that was affected.
Yeah.
And so those marked with ga, and then dorobo ni, which is to a thief, and then torarimashita. And I suppose the topic here would be watashi wa, because it's saying it's my car. Yeah, watashi wa kuruma ga dorobo ni torarimashita. As for me, my car was taken by a thief or a Polish person.
I just wanted to ask that. So again, because it's not mentioned, it doesn't mean it's not there. So I just have to, because I was a little bit late, I will not do the passive form in exercises. I just wanted to use Andy. So we're going to, unless there are people that really want to do it, they can put up their hand and then they have to do it. I don't see hands going up.
I can see Louise's cat putting its paw up.
Andy Sensei said so the passive form is not used so often, so it's more that you just know the rule. Passive form ni as the agency, the thing that is doing it, and ga as the subject.
Yeah.
But look wanna do it. Look wanna do it.
No, I just have a question.
Look, you're here. I didn't see you.
I was hiding behind my lamp. I noticed that Andy's sentence, you put the agency with ni after the action that was done, ga.
Yeah.
So the order of the in the sentence, it is, you can change it around?
Yes, I think so. Dorobo ni. Yes, you can. So the thing that's affected by the verb can go before or after the agency that carried out the verb.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually is a good remark, Luke. So it's good for the entire group. When you make the sentence structure, try to always put for everything a topic in the beginning to set the context. And the closer you come to the verb, the closer you put the subject and the object. So try to put first the what part, so to make the context, then the extra information like time or place. And the closer you get to the verb, the closer the part, so the subject that the verb is related to, put it as close as possible. That is, it's not necessary, but it makes the sentence the most easy to understand.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Then we go to the next particle. The next particle, everybody of us know, because we all do iaido, we all do kendo or jodo. Well, if you know the Geida no Kamae and the Chuda no Kamae and the Jodo no Kamae, we have all seen this in our classes. Our teachers have tried to explain this to us. Then there actually is doesn't mean anything more than it's of something something, of it's from something something. When we go to Jodo no Kamae, it just means the fighting posture of above. The same in the middle and the same is in below. We have the same, I think, when we talk about the distance, chumai, is middle distance. And we have also, I'm thinking about the word, but I forgot it. So close distance, but in your head, you should draw a picture, jodo no kamai, and it will always use no for possessive. This is clear? Yeah. So, as I said, so no indicates the possession or the attribution of something. If you have something with an apostrophe S, then it's always no. You should never doubt. So if it's Tom's book, the S in Tom's is always no. Tom-san no hon desu. Yes, this is number one. We can also use no in combination with a place marker. Of course, when we have a place marker, usually we have the particle ni, which comes after these slides, we will see later. But we combine, for example, when I want to say I'm sitting behind you, then we combine you, which is anata, and ushiro is behind. If we think about the kata in seite, ushiro, then ushiro is just behind. So we can combine these two. So anata no ushiro. So we combine you with behind, and then ni is to say it's a place. So the place marker. Yeah. Is this clear? I have to agree with Andy. Kim, you always look worried. Okay. So, and of course, there is no limit to using the no. You can combine nouns and things together with no. But I think at a certain moment, if you use 10 no's, it's possible, but it will sound very, very strange. So you can, for example, combine Andy-san wa AGC no Nihongo no sensei desu. So I'm combining here, so the Andy Japanese corner with Japanese and teacher. So sensei here is meant as teacher. In the second one, if you look at the pictures, then I combine Andy with Andy Japanese corner and sensei. So the difference here is that in the first example, when I use the AGC Nihongo no sensei, that Andy is actually the topic, the thing. It gives the context about what I am talking about. And in the second one, Andy is part of the possessive form. Is this clear? Which these three possibilities are. So from, or of. But think about the Jodo no Kamai, which you all know, or the Jodoka's Honte no Kamai, and then you know it's to combine, usually it's to combine two things together with the possessive form. As a standard rule, normally the biggest thing comes first, because that sometimes is the most difficult to know if you combine two nouns together, which one comes first. Unless you're Portuguese, because they have the same system in their grammar. I learned. So we have yet another one. I especially made for Piotr, and he didn't come for the entire week. If you want to say in Japanese how to do something, how to, then we actually have a suffix kata. We already saw it a few times during the sessions, but when we take a verb and we put it in the mas form, and then we cut off the mas and replace the mas with kata. So I took the first example, taberu, so it becomes tabemasu, and we cut off the mas and we replace it with kata, so we get tabekata. Then that means how to eat. In English, how to can sometimes also be translated as by way of. It actually, I think grammatically is exactly the same. So in this way, especially so for the transitive verbs, you can do things, but also for intransitive verbs, because I think it's also possible for iku. I'm looking at Andy, but I think yes.
So sorry, yes.
So the kata, it works for transitive verbs and intransitive verbs.
It does, yes.
It doesn't work for all verbs, but for the main part, I think it does. I cannot how to exist, for example. So that's one that doesn't have it. So it's an easy form, but when you use this form for the kata form, then it's always a no. It cannot be a ga or something else. It's a subclause or a noun, something you do, no, the verb plus kata. So again, the idea of the slide is if you, for example, Kenji or Rieko does something and he asks how to do it, then you should recognize in the verb, for example, tabekata, So if you recognize the tabekata, then you should know before it is no, because she or he is asking how to do something. So it is no. It's not a ga or an o, it's no. How to off something. How do you do something off? Yes, Sensei?
Sorry, Tom, just to say that the where we have no here, this is actually replacing or where we usually put it. But if we have like how to go somewhere, like ikimasu, then we would still retain the ni. So Tokyo ni ikikata.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but that's one of those kind of exceptions.
Like I said, there are always exceptions. But as a general rule, this is a good one. Yes, Lucas?
Just a question for these exceptions, because we didn't do kata, but any movement you would keep ni, like also unten, suru,
so
this kind of stuff, or just iki?
So if you had, so unten suru, you normally wouldn't have or in there anyway, unless you had kuruma or unten suru, which would become kuruma no unten shikata. But if you had the way to drive to Tokyo in a car, this would be Tokyo ni unten shikata. Doesn't make any sense, does it? So anyway, kuruma or unten suru, it will be kuruma no unten shikata.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Good question. Is this clear?
Yes, for me anyway.
I'll send it to Piotr. So we're going to practice this with a simple exercise. Flashback to lesson number 1. We all did it then. Then there were people that said they were aliens and etc. I listened to the sessions again, so I'm sure of it. I just want you to introduce yourself, from what country you are and which name, and then also your function at work or something similar. It does not have to be true. So you can also be, again, a fictional alien if you want. Andy, will you start, please?
私はリクテンシュタインのアンジェイです。私はファイターパイロットです。
Does Liechtenstein have a...
sorry, リクテンシュタインの Navy です。
Spiros will be happy. Does Liechtenstein have a federation?
No, I don't think it has a navy either, or even a sea,
no.
But it's a very small navy.
Or even a pond. They don't even have a pond. It's too big.
Okay. Is this clear for everybody? Yes, then, Patrick, can you start, please?
私はカーセのパトリックです。私は、
UFO のパイロットですか?
I was going to say something like that.
Oh, you have to say it, huh?
Okay, I'll just use that one. UFO. No. Wait, that's all in English.
Yeah, but that's what Japanese is like these days. It's mostly English. In fact, I don't know why you guys are here.
What are we doing here exactly?
Just go to Japan, speak English.
Like left of foot fronto.
I think pilot is pilot, Patrick.
I'll just say 日本語コーナーの生徒です。
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Costa, will you do the next one, please?
Just I cannot regenerate phrases at the moment.
I have the same problem.
My imagination has run out of batteries.
Yeah, exactly. 私はコスタリーナのギリシャです。
I think the order is so.
Yeah,
I think Greece is bigger than
I
Costa.
know. Yeah, you're right. Oh my God.
I don't know what's bigger.
What do you mean?
The Greece or you?
My fame is preceding me.
But then you should use Watashi no fame. No.
Yeah. No. Okay. Let's say watashi wa watashi wa Girisa no Costadina desu. That's the most subtle I can do.
Yes, and then the second one, please. Can be fictive, huh?
Watashi wa blah
Blah, blah, blah.
no desu.
Yeah, now we
I
do something
can-
special because you use no before des that we saw Sunday. That means something else. Think about the des, so you have to watch out. It
What about
actually, sorry, Andy?
What about you're the sensei of the disco floor, Constantina?
Oh my god. Watashi wa no
Discotheque, no?
disco no
Teacher.
dancer desu. Sensei
Yeah,
desu.
sensei desu, yeah.
Sensei desu.
Mm.
It's very nice. From this we
YMCA.
go. We all know that one, huh?
She demonstrates her dancing skills by doing this.
Is the YMCA.
It's a YMCA. Louisa?
はい、私はドイツのルイーズです。学生です。
And where's the no in the second sentence?
どこの学生ですか？
どこの学生？音楽大学の学生です。
Oh.
Nice. Roger, can you do the next one, please?
私はイギリスのロジャーです。私は歴はメントのエンジニアです。
The company and no engineer, this is correct.
One more time, Roger. I just don't understand what you said on the last.
Well, 私は requirementのエンジニアです。
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Okay, good.
my wife says yeah, so it's good. Kim?
I have a short question. What is actually the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence? Or are we just doing?
It's just the exercise. It's the same. It's the same use of no, but I thought it was otherwise too easy, so that's why I make you do two. If you want, you can combine them in one sentence also.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
But
So,
it's important to practice, so that's why I made two of them.
こんばんは。私、こんばんは。
This evening, yeah.
I have to introduce myself, you said.
Yes, that's okay.
こんばんは。私はベルギーのエンジニアですが、日本語の先生ではありません。
Oh, come on, don't be hard on yourself.
Actually, you're the first that combines the two, so you're already very at ease. Annika, will you do the next one, please?
はい。私はハンブーグのアニカですが、私はイギリスのクイーンです。
I thought I recognized you from somewhere.
Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat your sentence?
私はハンブーグのアニカですが、イギリスのクイーンです。
Now you change it and you drop the second bar in the second part of the sentence.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. So it's very good. Lucas, will you do the next one?
はい。私はフランダスのルカスです。テスコの肉屋です。
Tesco, you work in England.
No,
thank you.
in Flanders.
Oh, yeah, about Tesco. I thought Tesco, the supermarket.
Tesco's, yeah.
They're everywhere, aren't they?
Oh, we don't have them in Belgium. So I thought they only existed in England.
No, in
No.
Flanders it exists. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry for the confusion. But Luke will now make the right sentence and we can all go to the next part. Luke?
私はイギリスのボリスです。Parliament の一番鶏です。
Or Uma.
Umi.
Uma. He's a horse.
Pays Umi.
Okay. I counted correct. Is this clear for everybody? I think if you think about the Jodan no Kamai, then it should never be really a problem. Only the kata is new, that form, but I think we will see that again in future sessions because it's often used.
Sorry, can I just ask, is Tobit, are you answering any questions? I don't know if Tom's seen you.
I'm not seeing him.
There's a Tobit here as well, Tom. He appeared late, which is why he doesn't on your list.
But then he can immediately make a sentence with. You like a challenge, Toby?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
you haven't been talking to me for an hour.
Because Kim started it, then you can do this Belgium no. So these two sentences and combine them with ka.
Okay, so we have ブラジルで、トビアスのブラジルですが、ライオンの調教師です。
To?
Can you? Yeah, I think it's correct.
One more time?
Yeah,
please.
But then I have a different challenge also.
Okay, so トビアスのブラジルです。
So Brazil?
Toby, the other way around. You are Brazil's Toby, not Toby's Brazil.
Okay. So, ブラジルのトビアスです。が、ライオンの調教師です。
You're a lion tamer?
はい。
Ah. Is that what we say? Shokyoshi.
Now, Toby, I will ask you an extra question. You can take it or you can give it to Andy.
What?
Yeah, sorry, Andy. Just to make really clear the use of no. You have to say yes to yourself or Andy. Yeah? You have to choose before I ask the question, Toby.
I vote Toby does it.
I can try.
Could you now make your sentence, and if it's not working, then Andy can help. That you use all no's. That you combine the two sentences with the no's. That you do no. So that we also learn that we can actually, instead of, I use now two sentences. So that was a good question from Kim. So my sentence, you could also combine all the no's together. So I can be Tom of, I can be Tom of Belgium of.
Yeah, go on, Toby. Go on.
So the same sentence with only no's then.
Yes, with only no's. I think it's possible. Oh, grammatically it's possible. So, and then we avoid the two des's. So in the beginning of our sessions, we also use 2 times des, and at a certain point, we try to avoid using too many des. So up to you.
So maybe ブラジルのトビアスのライオンの調教師です。
Very good.
Correct.
Very good.
Very good.
Actually, sorry, Toby, can you say that again?
ブラジルのトビアスのライオンの調教師です。
Okay, so actually, this is not quite the right order. So you would say, if you're trying to say your country and your job, you'd do it in the order of country, job, you.
Okay.
Otherwise, you said that I am a lion tamer of Toby. I tame Tobies, which might be true.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you never know. Okay, so it would be then ブラジルのライオンの調教師のトビアスです。
Yes, and then Andy, I have a question. As for me, I work for a company that is not in my country. That's why I thought the first answer was correct of Toby. When if I would take the country and then my company, then my company would be of my same country, but it's not the case.
So, I mean, if you wanted to be specific, then you'd have to say, I'm Tom of Belgium, but I work for this concrete firm of Russia.
Then you have to separate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Toby. Then now I know how to introduce myself as well.
And you
for my company.
And separate it with a ga. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is this clear for everybody?
Hi.
Yeah. So now we have the location markers. So we have the particles ni, e, and de, which roughly can be translated as to, in, on, and at. For the jodokas, we already know this because every time when we do the kion, somebody's shouting honte ni kamai, yakte ni kamai, and actually the only thing this ni means is go into, go. So go honte ni kamai actually only means going into honte no kamai. And then again we see the particle no because it's like the joda no kamai, the honte means just the normal grip into kamai. In this case, we can grammatically, we don't do it, but we could also say honte e kamai. It has the same meaning. So e and ni in this case can be interchangeable. So the reason why I say this is if you in a certain sentence have a lot of ni's, then this e is a way to avoid one ni.
Tom, can I just ask Amanda a question? Just for a
Yes,
second?
you can.
Amanda, do you have a taser on the table there? Is that how you normally serve your husband dinner, by tasering him first and then forcing the food down his throat? You're muted, Amanda.
Bottle opener.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I thought it was a taser.
It's maybe to electrify the fish
Oh, I
before
see.
cooking, then it's fresh.
Beer.
Oh, I can see now. Okay, yeah. Okay, just checking. I wonder why Tim was kind of looking a bit worn out.
I moved the computer because I've got to lay the table.
Ah, okay. And put the taser there.
Well, I am occasionally making notes
Right.
whilst stirring with one hand.
Okie dokie.
I hope it's interesting. So,
It's very informative.
thank you. So then we also have de. De is not interchangeable with ni and e. De is used when we are doing a particular action at a location. For example, when I take the library, toshokan de hon oyomemasu, so I'm reading a book, so I'm doing a transitive verb and doing an action, then I have to mark the place with de, not with ni, but with de. When I have, again, the intransitive verb, like in this example, iku, then I'm not marking a place now, but I'm using the de to say by means of, like a tool. So I can use, I can go somewhere by use of taking the train. So densha de. I can explain this particle by using the English language and these slides. So then I can use de, so to by means of, by way of. And we can also use de to combine na adjectives. We saw this long time ago, but to combine adjectives, we had the I adjectives, which use kutte to combine two I adjectives. And then the na adjectives, we can combine just using de in between. So for the example, watashi no inu wa genki de kawaii. So to combine genki, healthy and vigorous, with kawaii, cute. I have a dangerous dog, of course. I use de. Is this clear? Kim? Okay, yeah. Luke? So how do we make the choice between de and ni? So this is for the location particles the most confusing. So like we had ga and o, which are confusing. Sometimes we have de and ni, who are confusing to choose which one we need. We should think of it as the next rule. So when we use de, like I said, when we are doing an action, and we should use ni when we're just being or existing. So being at a certain location. So we could say being in a state. So we also use it a lot, state verbs. So if I'm imagining I'm in the park, and again, the watashi wa is between brackets, koen ni imasu is to exist. We saw iru, aru, and des, to exist. Then I'm not doing anything. I'm just being there. So then I have to use ni. There's no other way. Now is also one. When I'm really doing something in the park, like for example, we are all doing jodo in the park, you can, for example, combine it with the continuous tense, then I have to use de because there is something happening in that place.
Tom, sorry, I've just noticed a slight mistake here. So as this is a continuous present tense verb, this would be watashi tachi wa koen ni jodo o shite imasu. But if you were to have we will do jodo, or we do jodo in the park, if it was jodo shimasu, then this would be de as you've written it.
And this is because with the continuous tense, because we're doing it, it's always happening. So that's another rule then. So ni is always used in the continuous tense.
Yeah, it's because we got imasu at the end. This is the dominant, this is the main verb, the imasu. Yeah.
So we should mark this. Does everybody understand this? So doing an action, de, not doing an action, ni. And if we see imasu in the sentence, like I apparently now did, then it's also ni. But you have to think about the pictures when you are doing something. Actionally, you should use de. That's how you should that's how I try to remember it in my head.
Annika, you're looking confused. Are you confused? So Annika, just come off of mute a second. So just to summarize, if you're doing anything somewhere, whether it's shimasu, asobimasu, kirimasu, then it's de. If you're going somewhere or being somewhere, if it's basically an intransitive verb, most of the time, it would be ni.
Okay.
Imasu, arimasu, ikimasu are always going to be ni.
And what was the exception with doing jodo and ni?
It's because
It's
in this,
a mistake.
Yeah, in this sentence here,
Yeah.
this is the present continuous tense, but it finishes with imasu, which must mean it must be ni because it's a state verb.
Like in the example to be somewhere.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And now that also explains maybe the next slide with sitting and standing.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah, because there we also are. So there are always exceptions. This is a minority, of course. But when you are, for example, sitting or standing, or like I explained, if you go stand on a table, these exceptions you have to memorize. So there's like for 90%, I think it's always the rule from ni and de. But for example, for sitting, it will always be ni. No, normally you would think going down to sit is an action. So the normal reflex would be to use de, but actually it's ni, and that's how we should remember it. The explanation behind this actually is you're going from one state to another. So, for example, if everybody sits now, you are sitting. The moment you stand up, instantaneously you're not sitting anymore. There's not a duration of time that you go from sitting to not sitting. Like when you are doing jodo, it's not taking place in the blink of an eye. It's something that takes time. You understand the difference with the instantaneous action? So, and that's confusing, but so this is more something you should, because I used the exception from sitting, because for example, when we talk among Iaido people, yes, we can say sitting on going to Saiza, go sitting on the floor. So it's a verb that we will use more often than others. And then we just have to know for sitting, it will be ni. It will not be de. This is clear for everybody? Don't try to learn all the exceptions, but probably there will be too many exceptions. So the general rule is when you do an action, use de. If it's continuous tense, use ni. If it's sitting, then now you already know it's also ni. Not only in the continuous sense, but also in the present tense or the past tense. Okay, we'll do exercises. Action de. I'll say it different. Transitive verb de, intransitive ni. That's the easy. That's the main rule. Okay, so it's very important that we learn to understand what the transitive verb is and an intransitive verb. And if you have difficulties with that, I can advise, Andy made in the beginning an article about transitive and intransitive verb, and I think it's still on the group with the documents. But as you saw the question, am I doing something? Then it will be probably a transitive verb because it's an action. Okay, and always remember that the tabaru, it's a good way to compare. It's the standard go-to verb to compare with. Okay. So again, we do exercises. I would like to ask you to make a simple sentence first using de, so where you do an action, and then one with ni, so where you have to use a place marker. So the other uses of ni will come later. Those are the next slides, because the meaning of this exercise is so that you see when we're at a location, when we use de and when we use ni. So I don't want you to do a time and ni, that's for later. So a place marker de and a place marker ni. Andy, will you do the first one, please?
はい。アイスランドでアイスクリームを食べました。And 道場に行きます。
Yes. Because it's you, I also want the topic and the subject for everybody, so it remains in our head.
Sure. So if I just say Iceland de ice cream or tabemashita means watashi wa, even though it's not said, so that's the topic. Iceland de, so I'm marking the location of an action with de, and then I might use the topic rather than the subject, which was I used an object rather than a subject, which was ice cream, the thing that I was eating. And then I said dojo ni ikimasen. So again, the implied topic is ni, watashi wa, and then dojo ni, the objective direction I'm going into, ikimasen, I want to go.
Is this clear for everybody? Yes, then Lucas, will you do the second one, please?
はい。喫茶店でコーヒーを飲みます。And the second one, 日本に行きました。Simple.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Annika, will you do the next one, please? Sorry, you're next on the list. I work with the list, so.
Baltic Sea de oyogi tai desu? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And the second, Rono ni ikimasen.
That's good.
Yes.
That's correct. Not going to London.
Yeah.
It's clear because you had the question. That's why I asked. The difference between the and ni?
I know the difference, but to remind or to rethink something as a sentence, it's quite difficult.
Well, I can 100% agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Roger,
but it's clear.
Yeah, that's good. If not, you can still ask later on. Eh? Roger, can you do the next one, please?
All right. 部屋で椅子に座ります。
Sorry, 椅子に?
椅子に?
Is the chair.
Yeah.
But then you have de and ni. I have to look at Andy to see if this is correct.
Sorry, can you say again, please, Roger?
Heia de isu ni suarimasu.
Yes, I think that's correct. Yeah, because you're doing something in the room, and we're just marking the chair as being the place where where you sit into. Yeah, that's fine.
So very good, Roger. Already combining. Luis, will you do the next?
I'm not sure if it works, but I would. Yeah. So, 浜辺で休みたいですから沖縄に行きました。
For me, it's okay. But can you repeat it one more time, a little bit slower? I guess.
浜辺で休みたいですから沖縄に行きました。
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was doubting because of I'm to make sure if it's correct. I'm trying to connect the particle de to the verb, and I was confused by the des. That's why I wanted to hear it again.
So just to be clear then, Tom, it's probably better to say that the ni particle applies to state verbs, which is imas and arimas, and movement, personal movement verbs like ikimas
and personal movement.
Karimas. And as you said, the exception being suarimas and tachimas, which I guess is also a kind of movement verb.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Luis. Kim, will you do the next one?
Yes. 今日家でテレビを見ます。
One more time, please.
今日家でテレビを見ます。
Yeah, that's correct.
And 明日会社に行きません。
That's correct. Costa, next one, please. You're muted, I think.
Kala, Dax. I'm a little bit hungry. My brain stops working when I'm hungry.
I'm afraid I'm already sounding like Andy, so.
Sakunen girisan ni ikimashita.
Correct.
And toshokan de benkyou shimasu.
It's correct.
Toshokan de benkyou
shimasu. It's correct. You're doing study, so it's action. Then I still have.
He's a little bit preoccupied, and he's a little bit.
I'm listening.
No.
It was correct. If not, I would have said, of course. Patrick, do the next one.
日本語コーナーで日本語を習います。
Good. Yeah.
Good.
日本語コーナーに死にます。
死にます?
It's dying. I'm not dying. Oh, I think it's that.
死んでいます。
That's it. I'm dead in the corner.
I'm dying in the corner.
Is that another way to say I'm boring, or? Okay.
No,
Okay. Is this clear? The difference between ni and de, and so action and being. That's the most important thing, of course, the exercises. Okay, if that's clear, then I'm continuing. So, ni, we have another application, and now you don't have to doubt when you have a specific time, then you always mark it with ni. So if you want to say 2 o'clock Monday or June, so I took the example Fransang wa kuji ni uchi ni ikemasu. So if you have a specific time, you should use ni. Sadly enough, you can't use ni for all of the time. So when you use, for example, kyo, you don't use ni. You should use like a general rule when it's a specific time. So if it's you know what it is, then you choose ni. If it's more blurry, I think it's in English, then you don't use ni. So like for the times like kyo, ima, tadaima, it's not necessary. So only when you want to say a specific time. Is this clear?
Yeah, Tom, I'm just concerned about time now, actually, because yeah, we've run into 2 hours. I certainly have to go. So, I mean, if I leave it up to you guys, if anybody wants to stay on with Tom, I can leave this session running. But I imagine most of you are probably a little bit hungry or been sitting down for quite a long time now. But the rest of this has been recorded, and Tom's done a brilliant job on the rest of the lesson. If you want to catch it up on YouTube, I think that's probably a popular choice. Is it? Anybody need to stay behind? Kim,
I would like to stay. Yes.
Sure. Okay. Cool. I'll leave this session running then. In fact,
I'll send you a message when it's finished.
Actually, Tom, yeah, so I've got to go to the dojo, but I can make you I think I can make you a co-host if I can just see. Let's just see a second. There we go. You're a co-host, Tom. So just in case anybody joins randomly, you can let them in. It can happen. It can happen. Okay, so I'm gonna have to close off, guys. So in fact, I'll make you the main host, Tom. Just a second. Make host.
Promotion.
Yeah. Don't start looking at my bank account. So Tom, I just want to say thank you for this week. It must have been extremely hard work for you, as it was for Łukasz last week. So thank you very much. I've also learned quite a lot from listening to you deliver this. So let's have a round of applause for Tom, please. Yay!
My apologies, I was late this evening. That was 7 o'clock.
It's actually Facebook's bloody problem. It doesn't give the right times. Okay, I'm going to go off, guys. So sorry, Louise.
Now the Facebook time, it's just confusing because they put your time,
yeah,
like where you are, and then they say +1.
Yeah, it's
so
stupid,
you
isn't it?
think that it would be your time +1, so
Another
my
hour.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's stupid. Okay, thanks so much, Tom. I'm gonna close off. So I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday, no, on Sunday or Monday or Thursday or Wednesday. Okay, cheers, guys. Take care. Bye. Bye. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Bye. Bye. And thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
Thank you,
I
Tom.
still have a strong group of helpers, so should be fine.
Cheers, guys. Bye.